Today on Typical Chicago Fans, we have Sinkers and Floaters, the TCF Sports Minute, College Football Week 2 preview, the return of the NFL Pick Show, and the TCF Top 3 of NFL Stadiums. Let's roll. Hello and welcome back to Typical Chicago Fans. It is episode 113, brought to you by our wonderful sponsor, Connect Roasters. Make sure that you follow our main page on Twitter at typical_Chicago. Head to Facebook and Instagram, type in Typical Chicago Fans. Make sure you give those pages a like and a follow. You can find us on YouTube as well. Type in Typical Chicago Fans, subscribe to the page there for all of our content in video form. Subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Spotify, Spreaker, Google Podcasts. Wherever you get your podcasts, we are there. You can follow me on Twitter at BoomyTCF, but make sure you follow the guys that I'm joined with tonight. That is Zach at ZLiliaTCF and Maddie at schools_01. Boys, football is back. Week 1 of the NFL season is here. Week 2 of the college football season is here. How are we feeling?
I'm feeling great, Boomy. Football is back. It's just an amazing time of the year because, like I said, we love football. We do so much content with football. It's just that time of year. I'll kind of get into that with our sinkers and floaters, but it is fall time, and I think that is the best time of the year.
Hard to argue.
Couldn't agree more.
It's just it's a perfect you almost feel like Christmas Day, when you get both college football and NFL back, and it's just kind of block off your weekends for the next couple months and cruise from there. So we got a ton of NFL stuff to get into. We got a big week 2 college football preview. A lot of football going on this episode, but let's start as always, sinkers and floaters. My sinker this week is the Omaha City Zoo security, and that's because somehow they let a goddamn 5,000-pound rhino out of its enclosure while people were in the zoo. They had to get people from the area. They basically let them hide inside because this 5,000-pound rhinoceros, this tank, used its horn to jimmy a door and got out of its enclosure. They had to get people off the carousel there. They said that no one was really in imminent danger. And basically what they also said was that they used the zoo team used trucks to corner this rhino. And then I thought a rhino would definitely take out a truck. So I don't know how effective that plan
is. Is it crazy to me that there's an animal that is just in the zoo that is just, would you say 5,000 pounds?
Yeah, that's about what rhinos weigh.
That's insane.
And they're armor plated, essentially.
Imagine that thing in the wild.
Oh, dude, yeah. It's no thank you. That's as close to a dinosaur as we have on this planet. 5,000 pounds, armor plating, and
you're at the zoo and you're just walking around and you just look to your right and it's like, oh my goodness.
there's a dinosaur over there, like a real dinosaur. No thank you.
That's something that I would not want to happen.
There's
not many. Rhino. I always feel bad for him. So
I'm a little nervous about going to zoos. I think zoos it's kind of wild to me what's in the zoo. There's just a bunch of wild animals there.
Not many more animals I'd least rather see in that situation. I'll say that.
I could find 100 different animals at the zoo. I wouldn't mind running into the wild before I got to rhinos.
Yeah. Very true, boys. My sinker is literally the sun because it is going down quicker and quicker every day. I guess it's still up the same amount of time, but it's getting about 7:15 right now, and it's just going to get earlier and earlier until what time is the earliest?
Dude, I know when I coach in the winter, if I have practice that goes past 5 o'clock, it's always
yuck. That's disgusting.
Right,
at some point, at 5 o'clock, it's going to be dark out. Oh, that just makes me so sad. Makes me so sad.
That's what, especially once we do the time change, that really kicks into high gear.
Like I said, I had a big conversation or a big thing at the beginning of the podcast about fall, but that comes with some cons. There's pros and cons. The con is that the sun it goes down too early for me. I don't like coming home from work and sitting there in the dark about 5 o'clock, and you're just like, is it time to go to bed yet?
Seriously.
Yeah, I like
Yuck.
just the weather
Yuck.
in the fall, though, is perfect. It's
Oh.
Maybe we can get that thing going again where they had talked about getting rid of daylight savings time and at least save us, an hour,
Boomy, you
maybe
bring
an hour
this
and
up
a half.
every single time like you're going to change it.
It's got to start somewhere.
Boomy is
Grassroots
going to
movement,
bring this.
Zach. Grassroots
some
movement, baby.
You're going to see Boomy on like posters. He saved the daylight.
Save the daylight. Yeah, I'll
better
pioneer
those type of posters than what I would have expected from him.
Because for me, with
Valid
golfing, I love golfing, and if we could keep the sun going down till about 8 o'clock until October, I'm good with that.
Sign me up, absolutely.
Yeah, twilight hours dwindle real quickly.
Yeah.
Boys, my sinker, and we talked about it. My vacation on our last show. It's a long road trip. I went through a few different states, drove through Indiana, drove through Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, and South Carolina, and it was
Sounds exciting.
the drivers that out of state. Holy hell! Especially the further south you go, it's fucking brutal.
Yeah.
And we talk about bad drivers here, and the left lane campers that just sit.
Oh,
and
you're just seeing Boomy on the way to Colorado.
I thought Maggie was going to literally like stab me with like some sort of like mood enhancer, like one of those pills that just makes me like, one of those injections that makes you just crash, or chloroform me, something stupid to just make me just completely shut the fuck up, because I was losing my mind on this trip at certain stretches because people just will not get out of the way. Like, if you're not going to
Should be a felony offense.
You cannot go the same speed as a fucking semi in the right lane. Let's just stop doing things like that. That has to stop. In society, in humanity, all of it. That kind of stuff has to stop now.
I love messing with Boomy. I did not. I mean, rightfully so. Got a little mad sometimes. Never mess with him because I understand on the road when somebody just doesn't know when to get over at the right time or doesn't know how to use cruise control or something like that.
It's infuriating.
Oh, it's infuriating.
That's the proper word.
It is. It makes you, because you just don't. No one wants to sit in the vehicle for 15 hours. So it's just like, just come on. Like, don't slow me down. There's enough things in life slowing me down. I don't need everybody else in the world slowing me down too, because they don't know how to do like driving etiquette.
Yeah, it's stuff that like I said, that should be a felony offense if you're a left lane camper.
Unbelievable. It's just like, I don't know, it's like something that people have been bitching about for the end of time. It's just fresh in my blood. And I'm telling you, the further south you go, the worse it gets too. It was crazy. Yep. It was crazy. It was just like,
you can even print this. You can quote me on this. The state of Indiana has the worst drivers on the planet. I don't know if it's just a group of batch of people that I ran into. They are morons, and they are the worst left-handed lane campers, and they're all idiots. The state of Indiana, you're on my hot seat because you all suck at driving. I'll go ahead and say that. I'm going to go with my floater, and that's the Bears, but not your guys' Bears. That's because country singer Brett Eldridge released a video that he had a bear in his garage in North Carolina last week. He had a video of the bear had gotten into his garage and was dragging a garbage can out into the yard to try and get some food out of it. And eventually the bear got shooed off. But yeah, it got caught sneaking into property that he shouldn't have been in. And it was Brett Eldridge, the big Cubs fan. So tough look for that bear.
Well, the Bears are ready for Sunday. That's all I got to say about that one. My floater is fall vibes. As I was saying about the fall. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love give me all the apple scented candles. I need apple donuts already. I need it all right now.
Apple donuts flavored Oreos now is a thing too, by the way, and they're
those are good.
Dynamite.
Sounds disgusting.
Oh, they're great.
Really?
They're great. They use the golden Oreo with like an apple cinnamon donut filling. It's
Boomy, how do you not have this?
Oh, I've had them before. I was agreeing.
Oh, okay.
I just don't have them here at my house. I've had them.
Maybe we need an Oreo review, Boomy.
Oh, You name the Oreo, I've probably tried it. I make a
Dude, I
Walmart
love
stop
them.
about every 2
Boomy,
weeks just to
big
You
get
know what
Oreo
the worst
guy.
ones are? The originals. The originals are trash.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And the thins, get out of here. Give me more filling, not less filling.
Thins.
Clowns. What
Whatever is the opposite of double stuff, get the fuck out.
The mega stuffed. They're actually pretty solid. It's like double stuffs.
You guys are stupid.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
which
living the dream.
we go deep on the Oreo conversation here, boys.
Oh yeah, let's see. Let's try all these different stupid flavors of
The
Oreo.
lemon ones.
flavors.
The
That should
lemon
be-
ones are
That
great.
should be my sinker.
The lemon
my
ones.
sinker
The
is
lemon ones
Oreos
are
because
top notch.
they've overdid it. They've overdid it. How
haven't.
many
No.
different ones can you do?
They've cornered
But when
the
they
market
nail
on
them
flavor.
all, then that's
Oh
still a
yeah,
good
that's what I
thing.
want. I
They
want
cornered the market
thousands
on
of
flavor.
flavors
what are we
of
even talking about
Oreos.
here? This is crazy.
You're the
This is
only
crazy.
human I've ever heard pining for less Oreos.
I want less
Yeah, I like the
deliciousness in my
original
life.
Oreo. I like the
Ugh.
original Oreo.
Trash. Anyway, my floater, boys, and this is gonna sound really bad, so you gotta bear with me and let me actually talk this one out. But my floater this week is wife beaters, and I'm talking about the clothing, not the person. All right. So the
Thanks for
clothing,
clarifying.
I've made the transition. I used to be an undershirt, just a regular t-shirt undershirt guy for a long time. Then during COVID, you stop leaving the house as much, and it's like, all right, let me, I don't need this. So, and then I started realizing how good one layer is. And then I saw a picture of myself, and I saw how much of a bag of fucking mayo I looked like. So I just didn't want to have that just like flowing out all the time. Figured out that there's a way to, shape yourself a little bit, and it's like the wife
Spanx?
beater does. The wife, Bob, don't make me upgrade. The wife beater though does some glorious things, dude, and it's so much lighter than just having a cotton t-shirt on under another cotton shirt or under another dress shirt or whatever it may be. It was like a revolution at this age of my life, and
I think
it was mind blowing how good it turned out.
Our guy Nick Gons was actually wearing one tonight when I golfed with him.
God bless
underneath
him.
his shirt.
God bless him.
It's perfect.
What a piece of fabric, my God.
I used to be a wife beater guy myself, and then I kind of just stopped. I don't know why, but Matt, I almost went the opposite of you. I stopped wearing them at the pandemic. I always felt like I wore them going up. Now I just I don't know. I have a drawer full of them.
Boom, and let it all hang out.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't work out every day, 3 or 4 times a day like some of them.
I haven't been to the gym in 3 weeks, all right? I don't want to talk about it.
You'd be surprised, Manny, what's going on over
here. Yikes, that's a damn shame. Do I need to start
I'm losing all my muscle mass, and it's starting to bother me.
I'm going to start texting you in the morning to wake your ass up.
Oh, don't worry. It's on silent on the other side of the room. I won't get it. All right, boys, let's jump into the TCF Sports Minute. We're going to start off with a quick NFC North preview, and obviously this is typical Chicago fans. We got to start off with the Bears. We've talked at length over the last couple of weeks about Andy Dalton being the starter and some of the holes, some of the positives through the preseason. But what are your expectations of the Chicago Bears this year? Obviously with Justin Fields, not getting the starts to start the season, but, could happen at some point. What is your guys' realistic? Do you think this is a playoff team right now? Where do you think this team can max out at?
I don't know, really. It's going to be the weirdest year because you're pretty much just sitting here waiting for Justin Fields to play. So you're pretty much wanting the quarterback to fail in a way, if you think about it. Yeah. But as a fan, you always want him to win. You always want him to go out and beat the Rams. You want him to win the first few weeks. And I've seen some stupid stuff of people going, "Oh, the Bears are making me cheer against them for the first few weeks." I will not be doing that for sure. I'll be cheering for the Bears against the Rams, but it is going to be tough to see Andy Dalton out there because you understand that
there's a better quarterback there?
Yeah, there's a better quarterback, or there's just there's a better opportunity is what I think is out there. But unfortunately, Justin Fields is going to have to sit on the bench for a little while. We'll have to see how the first game go. I don't know if it's going to be week 3, week 4. I mean, they played Cleveland, I know. And like I said, they played the Rams the first week with the tough defense. I'm confused because you just don't know when Justin Fields will be playing. Will it be first game? Will it be fourth game? Will it be the fifth game? Who knows? I mean, and it's just It's stressful.
Maddie, what do you think on the Bears this year? Do you think this is a playoff team?
I wouldn't say playoff team. No. Oh my God, he fumbled. Oh my God. No, I don't think it's a playoff team. I wouldn't bank on it. It's one of those things. Like if you consider playoff team making the Nickelodeon game like they did last year as the 7th seed, then sure, I guess maybe that they're in the running for that.
No.
I've
heard that's back too.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I do it. They're playing for next year, in my opinion. I think this season is all about getting Justin Fields ready to carry the franchise in whatever capacity that means. If it's in the way that they're saying, and they're not starting him and Andy Dalton's our quarterback and blah blah blah. Fine. This season, all that really matters, assuming they're not in contention for a Super Bowl at all, which I don't think they will be, is all about getting Justin Fields ready to go.
Right.
Because he's the key. That's the franchise right there at this point. You're either one of those teams that builds like outside of your quarterback and inward, with the defense or whatever you have to do, or you're one of those teams that has a franchise quarterback and you go from there. Kind of like what Green Bay does. Kind of like they build around Rodgers. Let's not kid ourselves. They bank on him, giving him, what he does, and then whatever else they can fill in around there. That's the plan, and that's not a bad plan. When you have a quarterback like that, you can do that, and I think that's what the Bears are hoping they can do down the road. That's ultimately the goal at this point, is getting to that point where he can be the franchise.
I think the Bears almost look at this Andy Dalton experiment as like they could max out at what Tennessee is doing, in a sense that like you said, Matt, like you build, the quarterback.
Helps having
like
A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry, and a
I'm not saying that they're anywhere comparable, but it's almost in that vein where, with Andy Dalton at quarterback, you would be nice. You'd have more hope if they had, pieces like, Derrick Henry around him. But obviously the quarterback isn't there, the one that's starting anyway. So I think that, what do you guys think about the aspect of if Andy Dalton like kind of sort of succeeds and keeps his team around 500 throughout the year? Do they let him go the whole year without giving Justin Fields many snaps throughout the season?
That's what's stressful about it, is because you want the team to win, but then you want the quarterback to go in. You just don't know really what you want right now.
Best case scenario for Pace and Nagy is they win some games, they get a couple upsets early in the season, and Dalton looks like a comparable quarterback to, what he's looked like in the past. I don't think that's the Dalton we're gonna get. We're not gonna get the Dalton that was actually playing with the Bengals.
We're not gonna get a resurgence of Andy Dalton's of career.
Yeah,
this is Andy Dalton's last place he'll ever play football.
Right. We're gonna get Andy Dalton that much more resemble the Andy Dalton in Dallas. So I think everyone needs to prepare themselves for that. So I don't know. My hopes are not real high. That said, I do think that number, and I know we're going to talk about that later, I think is a little bit interesting in some ways. This point spread for that game. But I don't know. It's like, let's go. Let's put the best player out there where I'm at.
It'll be interesting, I think, if you also look at the aspect of like playing for next year, if obviously you don't see a lot of trades in the NFL, but, you could be looking at guys in the future, like we've talked about Khalil Mack and different options at the end of the year to, make some moves near the end of the season and, maybe pick up some draft picks and kind of really, launch yourself into that rebuild. It'll be interesting to see the path that the season takes. And especially because maybe it was Redline Radio, but they were talking that basically Andy Dalton is starting because Matt and Nagy promised it to him. So that's got to be, at least frustrating. But, like
that's
so
stupid, too, because
mind-blowing.
I hate that shit. I promised you this. I promised
you
that.
You're the NFL.
You're getting paid millions and millions and millions of dollars to play football. I'm sorry, but we drafted a quarterback that we like more than you, and we think he's better than you. So I'm sorry, but you're not starting anymore, and you're going to have to get over it.
That promise lasts as long as it does to take fucking Justin Fields to land in your lap. That's all that promise is like.
Right.
That's what that promise means. So fuck that.
You're so right, too. That's what I've been it's like he fell into their laps because the Bears did nothing to get Justin Fields. He was just there, and they're like, oh, maybe we should do this. And they did that. It made everybody happy. And guess what? They still stuck with Andy Dalton.
Ryan Pace made a very shrewd move on draft day. He waited out, felt out the draft, did a fantastic job of seeing where everything was going to fall that night, and he got the guy he wanted. You can't discount that. That said, anything before that doesn't fucking matter. And Danny Dalton, whatever you said to him, sorry, dude.
Who cares?
Things changed. This is big boy sports. You're making a lot of money. You'll be all right. Everybody will win.
This isn't the YMCA. This is professional football.
Yeah, and if you're afraid of what Andy Dalton can tell potential free agents, get the fuck out of here.
Mike Glennon. It was like, oh, I feel so sorry. Mike Glennon's not playing right now.
Mike Glennon should have sucked.
He got paid millions. He got paid like $10 million.
Get out of here with that. Get out of here with that.
They're professional athletes. The best players should play.
Yes.
Couldn't agree more. Let's move into the rest of the division, kind of where you guys think these teams max out, what to expect out of them. We'll start with the Vikings. Do you guys think that the Vikings have a chance? I know we talk about Kirk Cousins all the time. Do the Vikings have a chance with Kirk Cousins at quarterback to make a run to the playoffs?
No. I don't think.
To the playoffs, yes.
Maybe the playoffs. The defense is good enough, I think.
Playoffs. They could go to the playoffs.
I just don't trust them.
Could they do anything in the playoffs? No, they could not.
No, I agree. I just feel like they have so many offensive weapons, and even their defense isn't bad. But like you said, you're going to put faith in a team that's led by Kirk Cousins, a guy who tinfoils his grill. No thanks. I mean, it's hard to trust, but I'm also wouldn't put on a bet that they don't make the playoffs in the same breath, because if things go well and they stay healthy, it could happen. I don't know. I just don't know what to expect. I think this team could go 10-7, but I also think this team could easily go 6-11 if one injury.
Well, those two numbers suck. 10-7.
I know. I had to think about that.
What are we?
It's really weird. It's really weird.
That's going to take us a while to get used to. Also, the Lions. Do you expect the Lions to be better than they have in the past with Jared Goff at quarterback?
They downgraded at quarterback. I think that Jared Goff is not as good of a quarterback as Matthew Stafford. I've never been the biggest fan of Jared Goff. I think he's a really nice guy or whatever, but I just don't think I think Sean McVay has been able to set plays around him to make him look better. I think that this team is not going to be good at all.
I want to say the only thing about Stafford is people tend to say, like, oh, he played for the Lions. Let's not act like Matt Stafford didn't have one of the best receivers of all time. Let's not act like Matt Stafford
He's a Hall of Famer.
Didn't have a stretch where their defense was one of the best in the league for a couple seasons. Let's not act like he didn't have all that. So,
I'm not saying that.
No. I know you're not, and I knew what you were saying. You're right that he is better than Goff. I'm more speaking to all these people that think that all of a sudden the Rams got Stafford and they're just going to be the world beaters now.
I've seen so many tweets about the Rams winning the Super Bowl because of Matthew Stafford.
Right, I totally agree with that. Back to the Lions, though, I think Campbell's one of those coaches that has an impact in the NFL in the first season, where in terms of just the lighting the fire under the ass of people tends to win you a couple games. I think they're one of those teams. They do have some talent. Goff is not, in terms of a game manager, he's fine. So I think that's one of those teams that could be sneaky decent at times.
I think they're going to cause a little bit more trouble.
Out. They're going to play hard. They're not going to, they're going to be rough. They're not.
I think Dan Campbell will have them ready to go every single week.
I tend to agree with you. I tend to agree with you there.
That I can't disagree. I think you're going to see, like you said, a little bit more, they're going to cause some problems for some teams, but at the end of the day, I just don't know if they have the firepower on offense, to get them there. And we talked about, teams that build, around the quarterback or teams that build to the quarterback. And, the Rams kind of built, to the quarterback. They added the pieces around him, and he just, he's grossly overpaid. That's not, the whole knock on Jared Goff that we're talking, football wise, but it'll be interesting to see what Dan Campbell and a new quarterback in Detroit. Let's finish off with the Packers. But objectively, what do you expect the Packers to be back in an NFC championship again this year?
Unfortunately, I think they're other than I hope the Bears win the division. I think they will win the division. They got Devontae Adams. They got They got Aaron Rodgers, that quarterback that's been pretty good. I mean, what do you want me to say?
Matt, what do you think? I think this team is they haven't made a ton of improvements from last year's team that lost in the NFC Championship.
No, but what does it matter when your quarterback's Aaron Rodgers at this point? He's proven that year in and year out.
I think he's going to play with a chip on his shoulder, and I think he's going to be absolutely dynamite this season, personally, which sucks.
He's got to get ready for the Broncos or wherever he's going after next year or this year. I mean,
or Jeopardy.
Yeah. And I've said this a couple times. I think this might be like the last hurrah. And like you said, Matt, playing with a chip on his shoulder, being pissed off at the way things shook down. And, I've said multiple times, he makes good points. They haven't come to him when they needed to and look for his guidance as a guy like you said earlier, Matt, like they built their team around him, but then they don't go to him for, input on it. I'd be pissed off too. And, it's easy to take his side. And, I think he's going to play with a big chip on his shoulder and go on a big FU tour this year. Devontae Adams is kind of in a similar boat, not going to sign an extension during the season, kind of wait and see what happens. It'll be interesting to see, but I think this could be, I hate to say it, but this might be the last hurrah of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. So we'll see how this shakes down and, if things change as the year goes on. But I expect a good season, but
well, just like I've said, and I know you acknowledge that, like that Rodgers deserved input in front office decisions and things like that. I think those things matter, and that's kind of what I was speaking to when I was talking about Fields and like being the franchise. That is the franchise. It's way more important than any GM, any head coach, anything like any. You get to a player like that, and outside of a Belichick Brady situation, a combo like that where it's just so dynamite and basically, historic in terms of what they accomplished. If you have the quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, you gotta fucking listen to him. I don't care what the situation is. His voice matters, and if you undercut that, an alpha captain, NFL quarterback kind of mindset, guy's not gonna put up with that shit. It's just not.
No. And it's. I don't blame the guy. I don't blame the guy. And, even if you talk about, what the Patriots had, I guarantee behind closed doors, Tom Brady was involved in conversations with Bill Belichick. And you've got to take care of the guys that got you there. And it just hasn't seemed like it's been there. And it's frustrating. It is. And you worry about in the future when he does leave, if that kind of, stink in the locker room maintains with the guys that are there. Like Jordan Love's learning under this guy. Is he going to kind of see what's going on there as well?
Let me ask you this one real quick. Do you think the Bears' treatment of Andy Dalton from the front office is going to be looked at differently than the Packers' treatment from the front office with Aaron Rodgers? Let me guess which one's going to have more impact with free agency.
Yeah. It's Aaron Rodgers, 1,000%.
Okay, just wanted to mention.
Absolutely.
Well, because especially with the last two quarterbacks wanting out, and that's not good.
Yeah. In the the Favre to Rodgers thing, and you worry about with looking towards the future if that kind of stink stays in the locker room and knowing veteran guys aren't given their fair shake at the end like Aaron Rodgers has talked about. It is worrisome, and it'd be interesting to see if the Packers front office can change this and make sure this doesn't happen in the future. But time will tell. Let's move into some college football here quick. I want in the TCF Sports Minute. I want to get to some of the Illinois State schools that we have playing on Saturday. We got to start off with my NIU Huskies, 1-0 coming off the big win at Georgia Tech. They will host the Wyoming Cowboys this week at IndyCal. You guys think the NIU Huskies got a chance to go 2-0? I think Wyoming's a good opponent, but you just beat Georgia Tech. You should be able to take care of Wyoming, right?
You hope so at home.
Yeah.
Should be fun. IndyCal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you would think, but it's one of those situations where what you expect sometimes doesn't always happen. So just gotta show. I mean, you're still just gotta don't look ahead. Keep playing hard like they did against Georgia Tech. Treat every opponent like it's them, and they'll be fine.
Yeah, and you do worry about the letdown game after what you did last weekend. Did you, kind of dwell on that too long, or are you ready for a good Wyoming team that's going to come in and, not lay down for you? Also in Illinois Northwestern, the 0-1 Wildcats will probably move to 1-1. They play Indiana State, who is not very good.
We'll see.
Yeah, it could be. I do think on the same end, obviously Northwestern lost to Michigan State, which is also another Big Ten school, but this is an FCS school, and you're at home. You better come out firing because
this is a game you got to win by 4 or 5 touchdowns and make it hurt for the other team because you just came off a game where you should have won at home against Michigan State, and you gotta have a good bounce back game.
Absolutely. Matt, you got anything on the Wildcats?
No, I mean, you just want to hope they look a lot better than they did in their first game. You expected a lot more, to say the least. So.
Yeah. Hopefully they shake the rust off and get back on the win train.
It's one of those things, too. I know a lot of people are talking about I can't draw a blank on the quarterback's name. Is a transfer, kind of a highly touted prospect. And the hell, I'm totally drawing a blank.
But. At Illinois?
Northwestern.
Oh, yeah, I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Totally drawing a blank. You expect a guy like that, though, he comes in with a little bit of hype and they just fall so flat. It sucks.
Yeah, big bounce back opportunity for the Wildcats. The Fighting Illini travel to Virginia. The Fighting Illini are 1-1, but here's another opportunity. They should, if they would have taken care of business last week, they're sitting at 2-0. Now they're going to Virginia, who's not world beaters by any stretch of the imagination, but I mean it's still an ACC opponent, and you just lost to UTSA. Do you guys think Bielema and the Illini have a lot to prove this weekend after kind of embarrassing loss? Zach, you're muted.
I think.
Sorry. I was muted there. I muted myself because that's how I get. But yeah, I think Illinois has to win this game. I mean, you can't lose like that at home with this new coach and this and that, and lose like that at home. What are we doing?
Yeah. To UTSA. It's not even like, I mean, UTSA is a good team. We talked to Bobby about him a couple weeks ago.
I'm not trying to be like, I like watching Illinois, whatever. But like, at some point, you got to stop losing to teams like that at home in the second week. You need to be 2-0. That's games you got to win.
Especially after you've won a game people didn't expect you to win.
Because if you're Bielema, you want Illinois players, you want guys from Illinois, you want the guys who are going out of state. But then when you lose a game like that, like people are gonna remember that.
Yeah, and especially like you said, Zach, like kids aren't gonna remember that you beat Nebraska in week 1. They're gonna remember that you lost to UTSA in week 2. That's not a great look. And if you would have looked at this on paper, maybe a lot of people would have thought that Illinois would be 1-1 going into this game this weekend, but they would have thought it'd been the other way around. Probably a loss to Nebraska and a win versus San Antonio.
Right.
But like you said, it does kind of feel like an opportunity that, if Illinois wants to stay in the hunt for a bowl game this year, you gotta take care of business against an ACC opponent on the road.
Couldn't agree more.
Very true.
Big one for Bielema and the boys. I'm going to go through the FCS schools in Illinois here real quick. Western, who put up a fight against Ball State last week but fell short. They will be at number 5, Montana, who beat Washington. Big game for the Leathernecks. Could be an opportunity for a nice bounce-back win. But I don't know. You guys think they stand a chance against Montana, who just beat Washington?
I'm going to say no.
Yeah,
I'd have to think no.
I think so, too. Eastern, unfortunately, sitting at 0-2 with a tough matchup this weekend. They take on the Dayton Flyers. Eastern, if you're going to turn things around, now's the time to do it. And last but not least, I mentioned that I forgot what their record was last weekend, but Southern Illinois is 1-0, and they are currently ranked number 8 in the FCS, and they will travel to Kansas State. This might be a game that's worth watching. Southern Illinois has been really good for the last 2 seasons. And Kansas State, as we know, is okay. They had a really nice win last weekend against Stanford. But at the end of the day, they are Kansas State. You guys think that the Salukis stand a chance to upset the big dogs in Kansas?
That'd be awesome. I hope they do.
I do too.
Because what are they, like 5th or 4th? And was it FBS?
They're number 8 in the FCS.
FCS.
Yeah.
Be awesome.
Matt, you pulling for the Salukis on Saturday?
Of course I am. I mean, You have to root for a story like that. Southern's always pretty decent in football too. It's kind of, so it wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world to say the least.
Agreed. And it'd be a little bit nicer if they were going to Kansas. I would definitely be laying some money line there because Kansas might as well be in the FCS because they are absolutely terrible. But that was our college football in-state preview. Quickly, the Cubs had a nice little win streak since our last podcast that came to an end. They are at 56-75. Unfortunately, 21 games back of the division, 10 games out of the wild card. Season's pretty much over.
Wait a minute. No, wait a minute. 10 games out of the wild card. Let's just take it easy.
Not dead yet, right?
8-1 in our last 9. Well, I understand what you said, Boomy, but it's awesome to see this. But what I really want to say is I love how Marquee is really highlighting the minors right now, and they're playing a lot of games. They even in the Cubs post game, they do like an Iowa Cubs post game and stuff like that. And I think it's really awesome because they understand the Cubs are rebuilding and they got a lot of talent down in the minors, and it's just really cool. And it is difficult to watch the Marquee channel sometimes, but I think they are doing a really good job, and it is cool that the Cubs have their own network.
And I agree, Zed. I love that the Marquee channel is doing that. But like, even when the Cubs are good, they should be doing those. Even if you tape delay them to the next day, like people want to see names like Ed Howard. The kid who just got drafted in the first round, his name is escaping me, just got called up to low A in South Bend. Like people that follow the Cubs want to see those kinds of guys. The guys they acquired in trades, they want to see those names and starting to put faces to those names. You might as well put those games on TV. So the future is at least looking good on Marquee Network. Maddie, anything on the Cubs?
I like what we're seeing from certain players. I like that we're seeing that there's parts that could be, I'm not saying building blocks, but like just good players to have around the franchise and kind of, hopefully not be dog shit next year.
Yeah.
It's having a team that's competitive is a lot more fun than not. And
not even that. To add to that, what if you're even seeing guys that are making progress that may be able to be used in sign-in trades in the offseason and stuff like that, like pieces and deals. So it is good. I'd rather see guys out here playing well instead of, like you said, Matt, playing like dog shit. And then they've proven that they can't play at the major league level, and then they're no asset to you whatsoever except for being on a bad baseball team. Some of these guys are out here proving that they deserve to be out there, and you could possibly use them, as either pieces next year or as in, commodities in the trade value. Sox 80-60, 10 games up, still have the third best record in the American League, but they're only one game out of the second seed, which would get you a home field advantage. And everything except for the ALCS. It does seem was it Eloy that took the foul ball off the knee?
Yes.
It does seem like he's, it's not threatening, but he does have a bruised bone in his knee.
He's set today and yesterday both.
Yeah. So maybe a couple more days, especially with a 10-game cushion, can't hurt anything. But, the days are ticking down. You got about 20-plus days until, playoffs start. Better start getting that rotation and getting the back end of that bullpen, completely straightened out. But I think if you're a Sox fan, you've got to be in a pretty good spot right now. Anything on the Sox, boys?
No, like you said, just get ready for the playoffs. They got some players on the IL that probably wouldn't be if it was the playoff time. So they're just kind of getting everybody rested up, ready to go. And I think they're doing a great job getting ready for the playoffs.
Absolutely. Well, that segment was brought to you by our sponsor, Connect Roasters, the best coffee you can find out there. They work with our guy, Dom Frederick and Ian Happ. So it's good stuff. Zach loves it. Zach's mom loves it. You can't go wrong. Check out their website, connectroasters.com. Follow them on Twitter at Connect Roasters. You can find their products in Foxtrot Market, Dom's, or if you happen to be in the Cubs clubhouse at any point for the next 3 weeks or so, they have it in there.
Yeah, hopefully I get called up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, shoot, at this point, you never know. Make sure that you join the Home Run Club to receive some discounts every time our guy Ian Happ hits a home run, and he's been hitting a lot of them lately. So make sure you sign up for the Home Run Club. Boys,
21 on the year. 21 on the year. Sorry. 21 home runs for our guy Ian Happ. Let's go.
big goals. I want to see 27 by the end of the season for our guy Ian.
Can we just have him
homered
keep
in 3
playing the
straight
Reds?
games?
Can we just have him keep playing the Reds too?
Yeah,
Sorry,
seriously.
A little fun fact about the Cubs. Ian Happ, 3 straight home runs, or 3 straight games with a home run. The Cubs, 15 straight games with a home run.
Jesus.
Crazy.
It's
Where was that in July?
It's most in the majors right now, and it's tied for second in franchise history.
That's insane. Love to hear that.
God damn, if they didn't just lose 12 in a row like in July.
Also, Chris Bryant's playing for the Cubs, or playing for the Giants in Wrigley Field.
You got me really excited there. But it is week 2 of the college football season. A lot of big games coming up. I want to dive into some of the big names. Let me know what you guys think. Of course, we got to start right across the river, Iowa State. Iowa State got a little bit of a scare last week from Northern Iowa. Iowa coming off of a big win over Indiana. Obviously, this is kind of the big rivalry game of the week. Where do you see this one shaking down, and who's coming out the winner?
I love Iowa State. Absolutely love Iowa State.
Coming off a bad week 1?
Yeah, exactly. They looked like shit against Northern Iowa. Iowa was a big, a shocking win against Indiana in shocking fashion as well against a ranked team. I think it's a classic, look ahead spot for Iowa, or a classic look ahead spot for Iowa State, where it's like, okay, yeah, we're playing Northern Iowa this week. We're looking ahead to hopefully finally beat Kirk Ferentz if you're Matt Campbell. I think it's a big spot for Iowa State. They've got more talent on the offensive side, especially. So I'm going Iowa State big there.
Love it. Zach, what do you think?
I'm with him. Iowa State big.
It's in Ames. I can't disagree with you there. The only other game of two ranked teams, I think this is going to be a blowout. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. Oregon and Ohio State. Oregon's big defensive.
Oh, Ohio State. Oof.
Ohio State might beat them by 40.
Yeah.
I don't have much of a feel for this one. Personally, it's another one of those, if you're looking at how they looked last week, it's like, okay, you think the way I just mentioned Iowa State, I would have to take Oregon. It'd be the same situation where Oregon was looking ahead against Fresno. Iowa State, looked like gangbusters like you would expect in week 1. Against Minnesota, who kind of gave them a little bit of a fight, too. It wasn't like a walk in the park, to say the least.
They responded with a big punch in the mouth, though.
Yeah, I mean, Olave is just a dynamic player, and, he's hard for anybody to stop. So I probably would side with you guys on Ohio State at this point on this one.
All right, let's move to one team that I took notice from last week. We talked a little bit about it. Texas and Arkansas. Is Texas going to be able to prove that they are back this week if they can handle Arkansas, who's not great, but Arkansas is still a Big 12 or another big, name. It's not, Louisiana Ragin' Cajun. What do you guys think in the Texas-Arkansas game?
I think that Texas has to have multiple seasons of winning seasons, I'd have to say, before that I actually call them back.
I'm not going to hearing Texas. I'm going to go. This is what I'll say about them. You got to get to a big bowl. You got to get to a big name bowl. You can't be playing in the Alamo Bowl. You got to play in the Fiesta Bowl. I'm not saying you got to make the top 4 for me to say you're back, but you got to play in a bowl game that doesn't change names every 4 years.
Tend to agree with that.
I think Texas is going to do it. I think they're talented. I think Sarkisian's doing a nice job. Moving on to another one, we got Miami and Appalachian State. Appalachian State, we talked to Bobby quite a bit about in the Sun Belt. Miami coming off of a brutal beatdown by Alabama. Do you think Miami is going to right the ship, or are we going to see an upset from a Sun Belt team this week, boys?
I think Miami will win that game. I understand, yes, they lost to Alabama, but that's Alabama. I think Miami's a pretty good team.
I think Alabama's an absolute barnstormer. They're just going to mull through teams this year.
It's a tough first game.
Miami had a very tough first game. Derek King's a really good quarterback. I think it's a spot where Miami's going to look much more like the team people expected. I would take the fave in this one.
Love it. Big names in this one. Not a good, decent week from Michigan last week, but Washington coming off of a embarrassing loss to FCS Montana. Michigan and Washington. I love this game. I like it a lot. I think Michigan is good, but guys, I think we might see a bounce back from the Huskies. Any love on this one?
Kind of fun.
It's one of those things. Another game where you could say bounce back spot or look ahead spot or whatever it may be. And Washington looking ahead, against, like you said, Montana, and they're now going to play Michigan. So you can see that being a spot where they may not put their focus into that week 1 game, and they're looking ahead to Michigan. So I don't know. I tend to think they'll probably play Washington here.
I like Washington here as well. And last one of the night, 2 unbeaten teams, Utah and BYU, the battle for the state of Utah. Who do you guys think is moving to 2-0 in this one? Can Utah or BYU kind of still continue to build after Zach Wilson goes to the NFL? What do you think here?
I'm going with Utah. Utah should be in control of Utah.
That's hard to
disagree. It's a valid
with.
point. Valid point. Utah should
called the Utes,
Utah.
for God's sakes.
Yeah, I like that. That sold me. I'm on Utah now.
I'm with Zach. Go Utes. All right, guys, the NFL Pick Show is making its return. This is our 3rd year running the NFL Pick Show. I just want to let everyone know that I won last year, and I still have the spreadsheet to prove it. We did do our Thursday night picks on the Daily Show this week. Both Zach and I took the Cowboys plus 7.5. Matt took the Bucks minus 7.5. So me and Zach early winners there. But what we'll do is we'll take 2 noon games, 2 afternoon games, the Sunday night and the Monday night game. So we'll go ahead and let's get started with our 2 noon games. Zach, go ahead and get us started.
All right. Should I just get both of mine? Or?
Yeah, go ahead and give them both.
I'm going to give Cardinals plus 3 at Titans. I think that the Cardinals are a good team this year. And then Colts plus 3 versus the Seahawks. I think that the Seahawks always start the season a little slow. So I think that the Colts maybe come out here, at least cover the plus 3.
Don't hate that. Maddie, what do you got on the noon games?
I'm going with Jacksonville minus 3 against Houston. I think Houston's going to be just an absolute dog shit franchise all season, like they have been for the last few seasons. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be the real deal. I'm pretty well sold on him as being a franchise quarterback, and I don't think it's going to take him real long. I think it's a complete mismatch in talent, and I think 3 points is way too low for Houston versus just about anybody in the league at this point. Other game, I'm going to go with a battle of a revenge game of sorts. I'm going to ride Sam Darnold against the Jets. I think Carolina is a far more talented team. I think Zach Wilson's going to be in over his head. I don't think they have a good team around him for him to be just thrown into the fire with the Jets. I think Carolina's an interesting team to me. They've got a good defense. They've got Christian McCaffrey, who's just the ultimate X factor, and I really like the Panthers there.
Good choice. I will take the Washington football team at home. They were started when I first took the pick. They were +1. They have moved to -1. I still like them at -1. It's essentially a pick. I'm not convinced until further notice that the Chargers are a good football team. I think Washington's defense is top 5 in the NFL, and you have a guy who's a game controller in Fitzmagic, and I just think that they're going to be able to kind of do what they want. The defense is going to help them out. They're going to make sure that they get the win at home. And then I'm also going to take the Lions plus 7.5. I don't know. I think that being at home helps the Lions a lot.
I've actually got 8 that I would give you, Boomy, personally.
I'll take 8.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that San Francisco is a full touchdown plus better than Detroit. And like we talked about earlier, I think that they're going to kind of come out with a little fire under their ass under coach. So I like the Lions plus 8 there. Let's move into the afternoon game. Zach, what do you got?
I got Chiefs minus 5.5 at home versus the Browns, and Giants plus 3 at home versus the Broncos.
Zach, I'm going to give you a half point too. I got Chiefs minus 5 here. So
5? I'll take either one. I think it's going to be 2 touchdowns, maybe.
One of the reasons I knew that is because I also like the Chiefs. So put me down for them. I think they're going to come out and blow absolute doors off the Browns. Personally, my other 3:00 game, and it's literally not because you're a Packer fan. I really do like the Saints in this one. And a lot of it is because of the line movement. The Saints opened up as a 2.5-point fave, and over the last few weeks, it's swung to where they're at a 3.5-point dog now. I don't know. I don't think Jameis Winston's going to be. I think he's going to be better than what Drew Brees has been the last couple seasons, personally, for the Saints. I think it's an improvement. I don't think Drew Brees has been very good for them.
He just hasn't been able to go downfield in years.
Yeah, and Winston brings a different element to that team. They got a really good defense still, and still got some playmakers, and I think Sean Payton's a good coach. So I'm going to go with the Saints.
I'm going to go with the Packers here. I just worry. It's been a long time since I've seen Jameis and been trustworthy of him. And like you said, I do think he's going to be the better pick than Taysom Hill. But I don't know. I think, like I said earlier, when we talked about the Packers, I think the whole chip on their shoulder, I think they're going to come out guns a-blazing here, covering the 3.5, not having to go into the Superdome, does make a little bit of a difference there. And then, Zach, I'm also with you. I like the Giants +3. I think the Giants are going to be improved this year, and I don't think that Teddy Bridgewater is the answer for Denver. I think he's a Band-Aid to get them through to the time they next take a quarterback. And I think that the Giants are going to keep it close, if not win the game outright. Mm-hmm. Sunday Night Football, we obviously have the Bears and the Rams. I'm going to go ahead and assume you guys are going to take the Bears +7.5.
I actually do like them solely because I think it's one of those games where I think obviously everyone's going to be betting the Rams.
Yeah. I'm in a Survivor League, and it worries me to take the Rams this week because I feel like 95% of the league is going to be on the Rams.
Over a touchdown is huge, too, in a night game. I mean, Sunday night game. You never know.
It's Matt Stafford. I don't think they didn't get Tom Brady. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. I'm going to go Rams. I think they've got enough offensive weapons that if Stafford can just manage those weapons, and then if the defense comes to play like they can, they're a top 5 defense in the NFL. And
Road rifle, baby.
Yep. That's I think why I lean towards the Rams. But Monday night we have the Raiders and the Ravens. For some reason, the Ravens cannot stop getting guys hurt. Their 2 running backs are now out for the year, and I believe they also had another guy blow an ACL for that reason. And it being in Vegas, give me the Raiders +5.
I love the Raiders. Love the
Zach,
Raiders
what do you got?
Spot.
I'm with the Raiders. I have the Ravens on here, but after thinking about all the injuries and everything going on the last few days, I'm going with the Raiders. In Vegas,
Marcus Peters and Gus Edwards both today with possible ACLs. So Baltimore's been taking hits left and right. Another thing about this game, too, is like you said, Zach, the Raiders are a home dog. According to the Action Network, Baltimore is getting 60% of the bets. Vegas is getting 53% of the money, though. That means where the heavy spenders are going Vegas. I like Vegas in that spot, too, big time.
Let's go Raiders. We're all on the Raiders here. All right. Well, that was week 1. We'll keep track of these, keep a leaderboard going every week. Let's finish up the show with the TCF top 3. And this week we've got NFL stadiums. They could either be just good stadiums or ones we like for quirky reasons, whatever the case is. Matt, you get to start this week.
Well, first one off the bat, one of my favorites that I've actually been to is Tennessee. I like where it's located. Nashville's it's obviously a cool city. It's close to the river, right across the river from the downtown scene. Cool place, cool stadium, good place to see a game. Environment's great, food was good. Sightlines were great. I had absolutely no complaints, and it was the game that the Bears blew the doors off the Titans. Urlacher had the pick 6 to at the end of the first half. I think they beat them like 42-6, something like that. It was an absolute beatdown, and so yeah, good memories for myself at Nashville as well. So I'm going to take the Titans Stadium.
Good town too. Zach, who do you got in the first round?
I'm going to have to go AT&T Stadium in Dallas. I just want to go there. It just looks awesome just to go to a game there. It's just so big. It's humongous.
Yeah.
Jerry World's a cool name, too.
Yeah.
Zach, I'm kind of with you on that aspect because I'm going to go with my first round pick. I'm going to go SoFi, where the Rams and the Chargers play. And not just to mention the fact that place costs like $1 billion to build. If you spend $1 billion on anything, I want to go see it. I don't care what it is. $1 billion anything, I probably want to see it. And like the big circular, like Jumbotron in the middle and like the glass ceiling, I'm all in on that. I will take that. And of course, my second round pick, I'm going to go with Lambeau. It's probably the only, I think it's the only,
You
other
could have
stadium
got
I
it in the
mentioned.
third, just so you know.
I know, but it would be disingenuous of me to not go there. It is, and like every list you look up, it's usually in the top 5. Obviously, it started off much smaller. That place is the holy grail, the mecca of football, as some would call it. I'm not saying that. I'm just reading quotes.
No one has ever said that.
Literally
look
none.
it up. Look it up.
No one's called it that.
It's me, right?
Zach, yep, your second round.
I'm going to go with Allegiant Stadium because guess what? You're in Vegas.
Yeah. And that place is sweet.
And it's a pretty cool looking stadium, to say the least.
Death Star. Is that what that people call it?
I think I'm gonna go with Levi Stadium where the Niners play. It sounds like an absolute just like the most convenient place on the planet. It seems like everything is just like there for you. I've never been there. It looks great on TV though, and all the creature comforts that come there, it sounds just through the roof. But from the basically, I think it's like you can order anything you want from anywhere in the stadium, and it's like literally at your beck and call whenever you want it, like all from a mobile app and stuff. So pretty cool setup from what it sounds like there. So I'm going to take them. And then I hate Soldier. I really do. It sucks. That stadium sucks. So I'm going to go with CenturyLink where the Seahawks play in Seattle.
Yeah,
great environment. Cool place on TV. Looks awesome on TV as well. The turf looks great on TV. The sight lines look awesome. Cool backdrop. And like I said, the crowd, the 12th man, super loud. Sounds like all the noise stays in the stadium, so you can't kind of get that college vibe to the atmosphere, which you kind of lose in the NFL in most places.
Absolutely. Zach, your third round choice.
I'm going to have to go with Heinz Field. I mean, going to Pittsburgh, that'd be cool. That stadium looks awesome. And
it looks very cool where they kick into the one end zone.
I'm not a fan of Soldier Field. I was a big fan of them moving to Arlington just because, I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of Soldier Field, especially where it's at. It's so hard to get to.
Miserable pain in the ass. Absolutely. My third round pick, man, this one's, you guys have taken some really good choice here. I almost wanted to go Tampa Bay until I looked up where it ranks on most people's list that outside of the pirate ship, the stadium kind of sucks. So I'm gonna go with a weird. I like Arizona's stadium for some reason. I like the indoor, and then it's also got the retractable turf that they can take outside. The grass, it's not turf. I should have said that right. But they can take the grass outside to get sun, but not kill it and bring it back in.
When I picked Seattle, I was deciding between Heinz, Seattle, and Arizona. So you guys picked the last two. I feel good about my choice then. So it was all I was in the right wavelength there in the final round. I'm pretty happy.
Fellas, a little bit trivia here. I have a list right here. Who has the biggest capacity
in the NFL?
Yes,
it's got to be Dallas.
I'm gonna go San Francisco.
This is saying that Dallas has 80,000.
Yeah, I thought Dallas was the most.
And MetLife has 82,500.
Oh, really?
That's what it says.
I would have figured Dallas because they have that platform where it's all standing room, but they can just pile fucking people in too.
Yeah, but this says okay, sorry, this says seating capacity, so you might be
but that's all that really matters, though, seating capacity. That's how they measure it, though. So in terms of, I don't think ticket sales compared to capacity is a different number usually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good. And I remember, Zach, you took Las Vegas, right? You didn't even bring up that they have a nightclub in the end zone.
The first time they'll have fans there.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. That will be interesting. Any other ones we forgot, guys?
Not Soldier.
I do think Minnesota Stadium is cool, but like it's the Vikings are there. But other than that,
if you look at Soldier, if you think about location, where in Chicago, beside being on the lake, would you rather be? And it's such a fucking monstrosity of a stadium.
Yeah. And I like it, the historical aspect that it was there, and like there, I felt like the renovation just like people
ruined it.
Yeah, it's just not. It doesn't look like, there's times when you renovate an old stadium and you can still see the old remnants of what used to, and you just don't see that when you look, from an aerial shot into Soldier Field. I mean, not saying that Soldier Field was, one of the best stadiums in the NFL before that, but like it just doesn't
classic historic look with the columns though.
Yeah, they literally kept the old history out front, and after that it was like, okay, let's make this completely new. But it's just like you said, move to Arlington. I still support you there, Zach. So boys, anything else?
I think that's about it.
All right.
Yeah, I got nothing, man.
A week full of football. And thank you for joining us for episode 113 of Typical Chicago Fans. Thank you to our friends at Connect Roasters. Make sure you follow them on Twitter at Connect Roasters. Check out their website, connectroasters.com. Pick up some of their delicious coffee products anywhere you can find them. Dom's Foxtrot Market or their website, connectroasters.com. Make sure to check us out on Twitter at typical_Chicago, Facebook and Instagram. Give those pages a like. Subscribe to the YouTube. Subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us, Spotify, Spreaker, wherever you get podcasts, we are there. Make sure to follow Zach at Lilia TCF, Maddie at schools_01, and myself at Boomy TCF. And again, thank you for joining us for episode 113 of Typical Chicago Fans. We love you all.
Peace.